Queen Valoria of the Nezrath Empire stood frozen, her four eyes widened to their maximum aperture, mandibles slack with disbelief. The holographic battlefield display before her showed something that simply could not be happening. Not to her warriors. Not to the glorious Nezrath. And certainly not at the hands of a pitiful, squishy human wielding nothing but a rock? Rewind that footage. Now, she hissed, her royal carapace flashing dangerous patterns of ultraviolet warning colors that sent her bridge crew scrambling. Lieutenant Zorkax fumbled with the controls, his secondary appendages trembling. Why yes, your magnificence, replaying now at half speed. The massive command chamber fell silent as the scene replayed. Three of the Empire's most elite Shadowspine warriors, veteran killers, who had conquered 17 planetary systems, approached a lone human trapped against a canyon wall. And then no, it still didn't make sense even on second viewing. These humans, Queen Valoria spat, crushing a ceremonial chalice in her claw. These bipedal jokes. Their bones aren't even properly external. Their skin tears if you look at it wrong. They have no natural weapons whatsoever. The Admiral Klieg, her most trusted military advisor, cleared his throat nervously. Perhaps this was an anomaly, your magnitude. Our intelligence reports confirm they're centuries behind us technologically. Their most advanced weapons are practically museum pieces compared to our plasma arrays. Queen Valoria chittered in dark amusement. Oh, really? Then please explain why I just watched one of these technological infants obliterate my best strike team with a piece of sedimentary debris? The bridge fell silent again. Nobody dared speak. The massive invasion fleet, over 3,000 warships currently in orbit around the insignificant blue planet, represented the largest military deployment in Nezrath history. Each vessel bristled with planet-cracking weaponry. Their armor was impervious to anything the humans could throw at them. Or so they had thought. I want answers, Queen Valoria said, her voice dangerously quiet now. She gestured at the frozen image of the human, standing triumphantly over the fallen Shadowspine warriors. And I want that creature captured and brought to me. Her confidence in ultimate victory remained absolute. After all, the Shadowspine warriors were just one elite unit among thousands. The Nezrath battle cruisers could glass continents. Their psychic bombardment could drive entire species mad. How much damage could these humans possibly do, even if some of them were surprisingly good at throwing rocks? Queen Valoria would soon find out exactly how disastrous underestimating humans could be. The Nezrath Empire had catalogued Earth centuries ago, filing it away in their vast databases under potential conquest, low priority. The official Imperial assessment read, planet dominated by bipedal mammals with minimal technological advancement and abundant natural resources. Recommended harvest date, when convenient. At convenient time had finally arrived, and Queen Valoria couldn't have been less impressed by their target. Such a backwater mudball, she remarked during the initial war council, waving a dismissive claw at the holographic representation of Earth. Barely out of their planetary cradle. They haven't even colonized their own moon properly, for void's sake. Just a few pathetic scientific outposts. General Mazur, head of the Conquest division, nodded his armored head. Precisely why we scheduled them for this season's harvest, your magnificence. The Dreg system required 3 full battle groups and cost us 17 capital ships. These humans should provide excellent resource return with minimal investment. The Nezrath had perfected the art of galactic conquest over millennia. The Canopus Federation had fallen in a single rotation. The mighty Saurians of Rigel, with their plasma shields and gravity weapons, had lasted barely a week. Even the telepathic hive minds of Vega Prime, capable of manipulating matter at the subatomic level, eventually knelt before the Nezrath. Commander Prax and the 7th Devastation Brigade have been selected for primary ground assault, General Mazur continued, pulling up the service record of their most decorated field commander. Commander Prax's combat record scrolled across the display: 37 planetary conquests, 214 major battles, 0 defeats. The bridge crew chittered with appreciation at the impressive statistics. The 7th Brigade has been quite bored lately, Queen Valoria noted with amusement. Perhaps these humans will at least provide them some entertainment before surrendering. Commander Prax himself joined the briefing via hologram, his battle-scarred exoskeleton gleaming under artificial light. My Shadowspine warriors are eager for combat, Your Magnificence. We've reviewed what passes for military strategy on this planet, and frankly my cadets could devise better tactics. The deployment proceeded exactly as planned. The first wave of dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere, targeting major military installations. Commander Prax led the elite Shadowspine units personally, expecting nothing more than a routine cleansing operation. Initial reports exceeded even their optimistic projections. Human ballistic weapons are ineffective against our armor, reported Field Lieutenant Cranks. Their air forces have been neutralized across 60% of the planet. Major resistance centers have been identified and targeted for orbital bombardment. The war room erupted in celebratory clicks and whistles. Even Queen Valoria permitted herself a satisfied mandible click. Any noteworthy casualties? She inquired, mostly as a formality. Negligible, Your Magnificence. Their most advanced weapons can occasionally damage our light armor, but nothing significant. We've lost 17 warriors total, mostly due to equipment malfunctions rather than enemy action. Commander Prax's hologram nodded confidently. My assessment is that complete planetary pacification will be achieved within 3 standard rotations. These humans fight with passion, but without effectiveness. Their coordination is laughable. How quickly that assessment would change. Your Magnificence. Scout ship Dreadfang has located something unusual, Lieutenant Zorkax announced, interrupting the Queen's victory feast. Queen Valoria paused mid-bite, the still wriggling delicacy forgotten in her claw. You define unusual, Lieutenant. My patience for interruptions during royal consumption is famously limited. Zorkax swallowed nervously, his throat sac pulsing. A lone human, Your Magnificence. In a remote canyon in what they call the American Southwest. The scout ship's sensors indicate the human shows anomalous readings. The Queen's interest piqued. Perhaps this particular specimen might explain how one of their kind had obliterated her elite warriors. Show me, she commanded. The holographic display flickered to life, showing aerial footage of a rugged, ochre-colored canyon. A single human figure walked calmly along the bottom, apparently unaware of the Nezrath scout ship hovering kilometers above. Magnify, ordered the Queen. The image zoomed in. The human was male, middle-aged by their standards, wearing simple tan clothing. Nothing remarkable, no visible weapons, no powered armor, no signs of augmentation. Just an ordinary human, alone in the wilderness. I want this one captured, Queen Valoria declared. Alive and intact. Something about these creatures doesn't add up, and I want answers. Admiral Klieg stepped forward. Your Magnificence, with all due respect, is deploying resources to capture a single human worth. Did I ask for your opinion, Admiral? The Queen's carapace flashed warning patterns. I want 3 Shadowspine warriors deployed immediately. Top operatives. This human is to be captured for thorough biological study. Within 20 minutes, 3 of the most decorated Shadowspine warriors dropped from the scout ship. Each was a perfect killing machine, selected from millions of hatchlings, enhanced with the Empire's most advanced biotechnology and equipped with armor that could withstand direct hits from military-grade explosives. First warrior Trazak led the team. His exoskeleton had been reinforced with plates of ultra-hard alloys that rippled with active camouflage. His left arm terminated in a plasma lance capable of melting through 60 centimeters of solid steel. His right arm featured an integrated neural disruptor that could paralyze targets from 50 meters away. Second warrior Moxara specialized in capture operations. Her armor bristled with specimen containment tech stasis webs, paralytic injectors, and psionic dampeners designed to subdue any species known to the Nezrath database. Third warrior Prax was the heavy weapons specialist. His massive frame housed a shoulder-mounted particle cannon and chest-deployed micro-missile launchers. He could level small buildings with a casual gesture. Together they had conquered worlds. Today they would capture a single human. The warriors activated their gravitic descent modules, floating down to the canyon floor with perfect precision. Their advanced sensors had already triangulated the human's position, now trapped against a dead end where the canyon narrowed. Target acquired, Trazak reported to the scout ship, moving to engage and capture. From the command ship, Queen Valoria watched with growing anticipation. Finally, they would have a specimen to study. Perhaps this would explain how these primitives had managed to kill her warriors. The Queen leaned forward as the Shadowspine team closed in on their cornered prey. The human appeared utterly defenseless. No visible weapons, no escape route, no communication devices. Just an ordinary human male, backed against a rock wall, watching calmly as three of the galaxy's most lethal warriors approached. This should be educational, Queen Valoria purred, settling in to watch what she assumed would be a swift and effortless capture. She could not have been more catastrophically wrong. First warrior Trazak approached the human with the casual confidence of a predator who has cornered helpless prey. The feed transmitted to the command ship showed the human's face clearly now weathered, sun-tanned, with wrinkles around the eyes. Most disturbingly, the human showed no fear. Not even a hint of it. Just calm observation, as if the three heavily armed alien warriors were nothing more than an interesting roadside attraction. By the void, what is wrong with it? Queen Valoria hissed. Its vital signs should be spiking with terror. On the monitor, Trazak activated his external speakers. The translation matrix converted his clicks and whistles into rough English. Human specimen. You are now property of the Nezrath Empire. Resistance is Trazak paused for dramatic effect, a habit he'd developed over countless conquests, pointless. And the bridge crew chittered with amusement. It was a standard intimidation tactic that had worked on species far more advanced than humans. The human's response was unexpected. Afternoon, he said casually, nodding as if greeting a neighbor. You boys picked a bad day to visit. Canyons got flash flood warnings. Trazak's mandibles clicked in confusion, the universal translator struggling to process the human's calm demeanor against its database of expected fear responses. Your meteorological observations are irrelevant, Trazak snarled. You will be contained and transported for scientific analysis. He stepped forward, neural disruptor humming to life on his right arm. The human sighed, looking almost bored. He glanced down, idly reaching for something. The specimen is retrieving an object, second warrior Moxara reported, her capture systems whirring to readiness. Queen Valoria leaned closer to the screen. What is it reaching for? A hidden weapon? Some primitive, explosive device? The human straightened up, holding a rock. An ordinary, fist-sized, unremarkable stone. He turned it over in his hand, examining it as if judging its weight. Trazak laughed, the sound translating as a harsh metallic bark through his speaker system. Is that your weapon, human? A rock? Against this? He gestured to his advanced battle armor, weapons glowing with energy. Not much, the human agreed with a shrug. But it'll do. What happened next occurred so quickly that the command ship's AI had to slow the footage by 75% for the Queen to process it. The human's arm moved in a fluid, practiced motion. The rock left his hand at tremendous velocity, spinning with unnatural precision through the air. It struck Trazak's helmet directly on the visual sensor, slit the one vulnerability in the otherwise impenetrable armor. The reinforced polymer visor, designed to withstand plasma bolts, cracked with a sound that echoed through the canyon. Trazak screamed, clawing at his helmet as warning systems blared inside his armor. He stumbled backward, sensor systems fritzing and sparking. Impossible. Queen Valoria shrieked, mandibles splayed in shock. Second warrior Moxara reacted instantly, raising her stasis web projector. A containment protocol initiated. The human was already bending down. Another rock. Another throw. This one caught Moxara in her primary manipulator joint. The queen watched in horror as the small stone somehow found the 2-millimeter gap between armor plates, the flexible connection that allowed for movement. The impact severed hydraulic lines and shattered precision servos. Moxara's right arm went limp, useless. The stasis web discharged wildly, enveloping Trazak instead of the human. Both warriors were now effectively neutralized. Third warrior Prax, the heavy weapons specialist, backed away, particle cannon charging with a high-pitched whine. Fear was evident in his movements, jerky, panicked, undisciplined. Prax, hold position, screamed Commander Prax through the comms. He's just one human with rocks. Rocks. But the human had found a third stone, slightly larger than the others. He tossed it casually from hand to hand, eyes locked on Prax's towering form. You know, the human said conversationally, I was state champion in baseball 3 years running. Pitched a perfect game in the finals. He smiled. Nobody could hit my fastball. Prax fired his particle cannon wildly, the massive energy beam carving a smoking trench in the canyon wall several meters from the human. The warrior was shaking so badly he couldn't aim. The human's third throw was almost lazy. The rock arched gracefully through the air, somehow finding the power coupling on Prax's back, a component that should have been completely hidden from view. The impact wasn't hard, but it was precisely where it needed to be. Prax's weapon systems went offline with a pitiful whine. Warning lights flashed across his armor. Emergency protocols kicked in, and the massive warrior activated his emergency extraction beacon, the Nezrath equivalent of a terrified retreat. In less than 12 seconds, 3 of the Empire's most elite warriors had been defeated by a human with 3 rocks. Queen Valoria's fury was a legendary thing. Entire planetary systems had been reduced to space dust during her occasional bouts of royal displeasure. But this was something new. The command bridge crew had never seen her carapace flash so many warning colors simultaneously. Explain, she roared, her royal voice amplifiers sending painful vibrations through the command deck. Explain how one human defeated 3 Shadowspine warriors with nothing but rocks. No one spoke. No one dared. The footage looped again on the main display of the human's casual stance. The precise throws. The pinpoint accuracy that somehow found the one vulnerability in each warrior's armor. It defied everything they knew about combat. Emergency council. Now, the Queen's mandibles clicked in rapid succession, a sign of extreme agitation. Within minutes, the Empire's highest-ranking military officers, science advisors, and intelligence analysts crowded into the war room. The atmosphere was thick with pheromones of fear and confusion. Head science advisor Banax was the first to speak. Your Magnificence, we've been analyzing the footage and cross-referencing with our biological databases. The findings are concerning. Proceed, the Queen hissed. Humans evolved as what xenobiologists call persistence predators. Unlike most sapient species that evolved from ambush predators or prey animals, humans hunted by exhausting their targets through relentless pursuit. I fail to see how this relates to their ability to defeat my warriors with rocks, Queen Valoria snapped. That's just it, Your Magnificence, Banax continued, his voice quavering. Their hunting strategy relied heavily on thrown weapons, spears, axes, and yes, rocks. Their shoulder anatomy evolved specifically for throwing with power and precision. No other species in our database has this particular adaptation. Admiral Klieg stepped forward. What the science advisor means, Your Magnificence, is that humans are essentially biological targeting computers. Their neural pathways are optimized for calculating trajectories, accounting for wind, gravity, and movement all instinctively. And we've been fighting them primarily at range, Commander Prax added through a holographic projection. His normally confident demeanor was shaken. Our entire battle strategy assumes technological superiority negates biological advantages. But against humans... The Queen's fury slowly transformed into something else, a dawning realization of the strategic nightmare they faced. "Let me understand this clearly," she said, her voice dangerously quiet. "We've invaded a planet of 8 billion creatures who can punch holes in our advanced armor with primitive projectiles, who evolved specifically to hunt through relentless pursuit, and who apparently don't show fear when confronted by superior forces?" "That's an accurate assessment, Your Magnificence," Banax admitted. The strategic implications were staggering. Every Nezrath warrior relied on armor that was now proven vulnerable. Their weapons required line of sight to function effectively against an enemy that could hit targets with uncanny accuracy from cover. And their intimidation tactics, so effective against other species, seemed useless against humans. "The human military hasn't even deployed their best fighters yet," Intelligence Director Tormax observed grimly. "If one average human can do this much damage..." The Queen's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. For the first time in her reign, she felt something approaching respect for an enemy, mixed, of course, with the dawning horror that they might have severely underestimated their opponent. "Revise all battle plans," she ordered. "Recall ground forces immediately. We need a completely new approach." As the council dispersed to carry out her orders, Queen Valoria found herself staring at the frozen image of the human on the display. Such an unassuming creature. Such devastating capability. Perhaps these humans deserved more than conquest. Perhaps they deserved caution. The war room had never been so quiet. Queen Valoria's inner council waited anxiously as she reviewed the latest tactical assessments. Reports of human resistance were flooding in from across the planet. Not just military responses, ordinary civilians were proving just as dangerous as the baseball-throwing human they'd encountered. A farmer with a hunting rifle had disabled a scout ship. A group of teenagers with homemade explosives had destroyed a ground transport. A chef had apparently taken down a Shadowspine warrior with nothing but kitchen knives. The Queen's decision, when it came, was as shocking as it was unprecedented. "Prepare diplomatic channels," she announced. "We will negotiate with the humans." The stunned silence that followed was broken by Admiral Klieg's sputtering objection. "Your Magnificence. The Nezrath Empire does not negotiate. We conquer." "The Nezrath Empire also does not fail," Queen Valoria countered sharply. "Yet here we are, watching our warriors fall to primitives with rocks and pointed sticks. Would you prefer I report to the High Council that we were defeated by creatures who haven't even mastered interplanetary travel?" Her logic was impeccable, if humiliating. "We underestimated them," she continued, mandibles clicking in reluctant acknowledgement. "A mistake I do not intend to repeat. Their biology makes them natural weapons. Their psychology makes them fearless in ways we cannot comprehend, and their potential concerns me." The Queen rose from her throne, her massive form casting shadows across the war room. "To think, after conquering civilizations with telepathy, with antimatter weapons, with technology that borders on magic, our greatest challenge would be hairless apes who throw rocks really, really well." Her sarcastic tone couldn't fully mask her genuine amazement. The universe has a sense of humor, after all. With a decisive gesture, she activated the fleet-wide communication array. "This is Queen Valoria to all Nezrath forces. Stand down. Repeat, stand down. Withdraw to orbit immediately. Cease all offensive operations. Diplomatic protocols are now in effect." As the orders transmitted across Earth's skies, the Queen turned to her still stunned council. "Let history record that today marks the first tactical withdrawal in our glorious empire's history. Not a retreat," she added quickly, seeing their horrified expressions. "It's a strategic repositioning." She clicked her mandibles in wry amusement. "And let us hope these humans are willing to talk. Because if they decide to leave their little blue planet someday, the galaxy isn't ready for what's coming.